Hey, y'all, hey. Hey, y'all, hey. Now, I took a little bit of a break, but your girl is back. Okay, I'm back. Now, before I start this video, let me know where you're watching from. If you're a part of the replay gang, hashtag replay gang, hit that like, subscribe, join the membership for only $1 now. Okay. But can you fall in love with your psychiatrist, with your therapist? Is it possible? Is it obsession? Is it intrusive thoughts? Is it a psychotic break? Is it that you need somebody to love you so much that the person you've been looking for your whole life, you start to believe, oh, my therapist listens, they hear me. Finally, somebody who sees me. This is the person of my dreams. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it, okay? Now, it's not a lot going on. But something will always pop up. And so this woman has taken over TikTok. Okay. Meet the woman who fell in love with her psychiatrist and made 18 TikToks about it, Kendra. Okay. She had an 18-part series about falling in love with her psychiatrist who she went to go and see for ADHD medication. And now y'all need a therapist to break this down because some of it is possible. I know some of y'all ain't saying that, but this is a possible situation. Okay, we're gonna look at it from the therapist side, a psychiatrist side, and this could be y'all. Okay, this can really be y'all. But what happens when all of your life you have not been heard, you have not been seen, you have been trying to find somebody who really just understands you, and that person becomes your therapist, or in this case, your psychiatrist? Let's get into it. Okay. Now let me go back to the other video that I saw. So first, let me take it a step back. Kendra is an ADHD coach, helping ADHDers get and stay sober. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of these life coaches. I'm not. I've always said I'm not the biggest fan of them because where's the regulation in this coaching field? Anybody can just wake up and say, oh, I just left my husband after 10 years. You know what? I'm going to teach other people how to do it too. I haven't done my own therapy. I haven't worked through the breakup, but I'm going to just, start marketing myself as I can help women overcome abusive relationships, even though I've done no work my damn self. Done no work my damn self. Okay. And so I think the same thing is kind of happening here. I have ADHD. You know what? I can market myself as someone who can help people overcome. But I must, come from both sides. Similar to these coaches, their therapists also out here doing the work of helping people, but have not helped themselves. Okay. And I feel like we're in a culture now of, I feel like I see so many therapists get online sharing so much of their personal lives that it's a little bit cringe. A couple people in particular, that I'm not going to bring up no names, but there are a couple people in the field that I've seen recently, like, oh, I was recently diagnosed with this personality disorder. I just recently decided to leave my family for 30 days. I was like, "Oh, girl, like, ooh." In order for us to connect with the people we work with, is it necessary to say those things, to give so much of ourselves in order to connect? Okay, now keep that in mind because we're gonna go back to that because that's a tangent that I do want to talk about in this video. Okay. But this woman, is an ADHD coach, an unregulated field coaching. Okay, now she started off by saying,
I fell in love with my psychiatrist, and he knew that, and he kept me for years as a patient until I was brave enough to leave him. I want to talk about it. Usually, when I go on this app and I have a question, I have a bunch of videos that pop up, and I searched in love with my psychiatrist, and nothing happened. So, I would
oh,
really
she got her
like
comments
to
off.
discuss what happens when we fall in love with our mental health professionals, and most importantly, the
When
fact
we,
that there are so many people, especially men, that are emotionally dead inside, that feel called to going into psychiatry and therapy so they don't have to feel their feelings, but they can feed off of the vulnerability of their mostly female patients. What do you guys think? I fell in love with my psychiatrist, and he knew that. And
let's dissect now. Okay. She used the word we. When we fall in love with our psychiatrist. Now, the thing is, y'all, like I originally said, this is possible. Okay. But now we have a collective community of, oh, it's just not me. It's just not me falling in love with my psychiatrist. I'm a therapist. Somebody else has done it too. Okay. It's not just me. And we have these little niche communities, subclasses that develop because of TikTok and social media, that it opens up a floodgate. Okay. It opens up a floodgate. Now hold on to that thought.
and that I had a crush on him, told him all the time that I thought he was attractive, and he just would smile and not say anything. He was the king of plausible deniability. He didn't ever like ask me if I had a crush on him, but he didn't do anything when I told him. Yes, I told.
So, what happens when you are a mental health professional and your client says, I have feelings for you? I think I'm falling in love with you. I have a crush on you. Okay, you're sitting there minding your business, doing your job. Say, what now, girl? A crush? That's when I put the book down and the pencil down. Here's this book from the BBS. Therapy should never include sex. Okay. Now I get that we develop a good relationship. I understand that, due to my role in providing you with unconditional support, hearing you, understanding you, how that might bring up some feelings because you maybe have not had that in other spaces in your life. But me and you have a relationship that is more client and therapist. And if you were in a place where you feel like you have strong feelings for me, I think this relationship cannot continue. Okay. Now, is it uncomfortable? Yes, it is. And so I'm wondering for you guys, based off of what she said, because I'm wondering about the psychiatrist watching these videos too. I know he watching. Okay. How would you handle it? Do you cut the relationship off? Is it awkward? You just kind of like, oh shit, like just smile and keep going. Okay. But like I said in the beginning, I feel like these things are possible. So I feel like in some ways there is maybe some wrong from her perspective because we're not going to hear from the therapist because of HIPAA, confidentiality. Unless he want to lose his job, we're not going to hear from him. But is it possible that what she's saying is true, that he didn't know what to do, what to say? So he kept seeing her?
Wasn't just fine with me having a crush on him and being in love with him. He loved it. And he had every ethical duty to a psychiatric relationship when he found out that I had a crush on him, but he kept me for years after. And this is what I mean. He was a 38-year-old, attractive, smart, extremely successful psychiatrist, but he did not date. Why didn't he date? Because he got his emotional needs met feeding off of his patients and getting fantasy supply from them and being seen by them. I'm really good at seeing people. He loved the way I saw him. It is a crazy story, and I can't wait to share it.
Now, y'all, one, he kept me for years. Are you locked in a room? There's a door. You can stop showing up. You can send an email saying, I no longer want to see you. But instead of taking the, oh, I had a role in this, it's all him. He chose to keep seeing me. That we don't, like I said, we don't know what he was thinking. But from a perspective of a client, you could have stopped going. But there's something about you enjoying this, the attention you feel like he gave you. Some people might call that limerence. Okay, let's talk about limerence a little bit. It's when you have this intense, obsessive infatuation with another person, characterized by intrusive thoughts, a strong desire for reciprocation. You see where I'm going? And a tendency to idealize the other person. Because I'm wondering, how did you know he didn't date? She's saying he got his needs met off of feeding his patients and get his fantasy supply from them. That to me, those are those intrusive thoughts. Those are your assumptions. Because either he didn't have good boundaries or you had a lot of these things that your mind told you that he never said and he never displayed. But I think it goes also with limerence and how people can at times become obsessed with their therapist and mental health provider. And we don't talk enough about that. How, because we are giving you as a client the things you have never gained from family, friends, it stops becoming about the therapy work and about more of the person. And I think that in my own experience, I've had clients tell me they chose me as a therapist because they want to heal their mother wound. And me being a Black woman, and maybe you being a male, the work that we were going to do together was going to, I don't want to say replace, but help you reparent yourself. Because I'm a Black woman, I hear you, I see you, I give you unconditional positive regard, the things that you never got from your mama. Now that's pressure on me also, knowing that you just told me you chose me because you want to heal from that mother wound, and how there's a parallel process happening with reparenting yourself through me. Okay. Ask yourself, have you ever chosen a therapist based off of your parental wounds and how now this therapist, it's their job to now heal you from and kind of replace the parents? So some of what she is saying, I can see happen because of where you are mentally. And as a therapist, we may not know these things that are going on in your mind because we can only go off of what you tell us. It's some body language. But these thoughts, I may not know are happening, that you're falling for me, that you are seeing your mother in me, good and bad, and the pressure that puts on me as a provider. Okay. But I feel like this person became obsessed with the idealized version of their psychiatrist, calling him attractive, extremely successful. Maybe becoming the person that you always need in your life.
Want him to do, get rid of you as a patient? Yes. Yes. That's what they're taught in psychiatric training, is that the moment romantic feelings, it is on them to transfer that patient out. Without a doubt. He was the one with the medical degree. He was the one that knew better, but he loved the attention that I gave him too much to do the right thing. So yes, that's what I wanted him to do. The ethical thing.
I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all not gonna like this, but this lady is crazy. This lady is crazy. Now, I think another thing that comes into play that I wrote down is privilege. Now, imagine to me if this was a person of color doing this whole series, saying they fell in love with a white therapist. The rhetoric, you know, I just don't. What's going on mentally here, y'all? What is going on mentally here? Not only do you go to this person because someone saw something and you didn't and decide, hey, you might need a referral to a psychiatrist. Now she's saying it was for ADHD meds. How do we know that's really true? How we know it wasn't for something a little bit more? Maybe you just need a little bit of tap of that Zoloft, that Wellbutrin, to hit you right here real good. Okay, just hit me one more. Give me the 20 mils. Just give me that real 20 mil, kick. And the other side of it also. So what if the conversation came up and he did say at that time that day, I can't see you no more. Then it would be you abandon me, the abandonment of treatment. So I'm going to report you to the licensing board. I'm going to give you a bad review. So in some ways, it feels like the psychiatrist's hands were kind of tied. I let her go and it's abandonment of treatment. I can keep her and refer her out, but will she let go? Because that's another thing. Like, as therapists, we get clients and we need to refer them out, but sometimes y'all don't want to go. Y'all have developed a relationship. This one right here, some limerence. Okay. Y'all have developed a relationship with us where it's like, then I gotta start all over with somebody. I don't want to start all over and tell my story again. You really gonna make me do that? Go back out into them therapy streets, them boards, them websites, like Psychology Today, and maybe start all over. And then it's the guilt of, damn, it was so hard for her to call me. It was so hard for her to reach out. I need to let her go, but I know how hard it is to find a therapist and how hard it is to get somebody to pick up the phone and talk to me. What do I do? Chat, let me know. If you're a therapist, what would you do? Okay. But Kendra is kind of Looney Tunes.
Going through something psychologically, let me be perfectly clear here. Even if I was going through something psychologically, it was on my psychiatrist to do something about it because he was the one with the ethical training and the psychiatric knowledge. So to answer your question, no, I was not going through something. I was simply wanting to go back on ADHD meds. And I told him in my intake about some of the family stress that I had went through, relational stress. And he also diagnosed me with not only ADHD, but other trauma, stressor related disorders. He did not tell me about that diagnosis until I asked him a year and a half later. But what he did with that diagnosis was he used it to recreate attachment bonds and make me addicted to him. Was I?
Her elevator don't go to the top, y'all. Her elevator don't go to the top. It stops somewhere. Okay. I think he was trying to be nice because he saw this person has some psychotic disorders going on. And we don't know her history, but I feel like there's some attachment wounds, some psychosis, and probably some PTSD from a relationship in her past that she is now projecting onto her therapist. It's kind of giving single white female. I know I keep it real over here. It's giving kind of single white female. He diagnosed her with some trauma. Now, when y'all be at, do y'all ask y'all therapist, what are you diagnosing me with? What's my diagnosis? They ever asked? And from a therapist perspective, are y'all honest? Or do y'all tell her or him something like this? Because you know that the person's already in a fragile mental state, that telling them what the true diagnosis is may not be very helpful. And is it our jobs to always tell them what their diagnosis is, even if we know detrimentally it can harm them? I think she came for ADHD, but he saw some other bullshit going on. Okay? He saw some other bullshit.
I don't know who you are, but you absolutely get it, because predatory psychiatrists who feed off of the emotions and vulnerabilities of their patients for a living, they absolutely do not ever intend to catch feelings. They do not intend to catch feelings. But my psychiatrist accidentally caught feelings for me, and I know that he did, because he started leaking at the end. He started leaking at the end he accidentally told me one time that he had countertransference. That was a big slip for him. And I was the one that still had to walk away. But yeah, it is absolutely a predator's worst nightmare to catch feelings for their supply. So I don't know who you are, but you get it. So thank you for seeing the truth in this situation too. Okay.
Tell me you haven't been on TikTok with all the buzzwords about therapy. You ain't an armchair therapist right now. Okay. It's comments like these that only feed into her psychosis. Like I said, subclasses and communities who have had bad experiences with therapy, or therapists, or who don't believe in therapy. It only feeds into her thought process of, yes, he was a predator. This is scary. It makes me wonder about the world of mental health and social media, and how clients can get on here and say anything about you. And legally, we can't say anything because of confidentiality. We can't admit that you're our client or those things are about me. And it's really sad because we have no control over what people might believe or say about us on the internet. Because he can't address it. He can't say anything. He just has to watch. He just has to watch. But I can tell this is a person who is not all the right there. Calling your therapist a predator? Wow. I have to sit with that because, like, imagine if someone called me a predator. When I got into this field to help, when I have so many clients who love me, who appreciate me, but sometimes all it takes is that one client to make you feel like shit and question why you're in the field. Why am I here? What am I doing? Is there something wrong with me? We are human. As much as people don't want us to be human, that they want us to stay in our therapy box. This is really scary to me because it lets me know that as a therapist myself, this could happen to me. And I have to just kind of sit back and watch. So, as I was talking about at the beginning, I think it's really important for therapists to be careful and cautious about the things that they share with their clients and share with the world. I see too many therapists online sharing about their own therapy sessions, their own healing journey. And I think there's a balance of sharing enough to connect and make people and help people see that healing is possible. But I feel like there's just an oversharing now from therapists. And it's just getting out of hand where people feel like this is my diary. This is my journal. This is how I heal. It's through the praise, it's through the comments, the likes, the subscribers, the money. Oh, my video saying that I was recently diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. My video expressing how I've been going to a psychiatrist and I just upped my medication as a therapist. Oh, that video made me $700. So you know what? I'm gonna do more of that. Yeah, yeah. And it starts to feel that ego. And then you start to risk your license, your career, your livelihood for social media. For social media. So I think there's just so many different levels to this conversation. But I think that Kendra is scary. The comments are scary. Unless you turn off all her comments. The likes, the views. I just, don't know what direction we are going now in the mental health field. Is social media really helping? Or is it watering it down? An 18-part TikTok documentary series. She even admits in her first appointment, I can't help but notice that he's pretty attractive. During the first appointment, telling him all about her daddy issues, her trauma, and relationship trauma. Daddy issues and relationship trauma. She's already coming in. First session. Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but as a therapist, when someone just comes in and it's just like the floodgates open, it's good because you get a lot of information, but you also have to take note of that. Does this person have boundaries? Have they already attached to me? Am I going to be able to, process and talk about things, or will they just talk the whole time? But I think she wasn't the most stable person. She says that her therapist breadcrumbed her to make her feel special. What does that look like? I want y'all to tell me. What does it look like for a therapist to make you feel special and could possibly breadcrumb you? Because I think we're in the business of making people feel good about themselves, seeing themselves and helping. So my kindness of saying, hey, looking forward to seeing you next week for our session in an email, will that be taken as, oh, you are? You looking forward to seeing me? You are? So now do I have to be careful about those kind of little things you say in an email or in a session? You did really good today, Kendra. I did? Do you say it to everybody? I was a good girl today? So it's like all these different things for me as a provider. It's like, ugh, damn, maybe I should be a little bit more careful about my work. I never want to be in a situation like this. Okay. But girl, got some issues, more issues in vogue, y'all.
It's common, but what's unethical about this situation is that my psychiatrist did not help me work through my feelings. What my psychiatrist stayed completely silent as I would pour out my love and devotion to him, and he just drank it in and did nothing to help me work through those feelings, nothing to help me work through past attachment issues, nothing to help me grow and realize that I was in love with someone who couldn't love me back. He just sucked it in. And that's what made it unethical. Oh, I know it's common.
I would also be curious about the role of her psychiatrist, because some people expect a psychiatrist to do therapy when you are coming for medication. And so you might spend that 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour focusing on just the medication. How's it been going? Tell me about your history. Have you been on medication before? Any side effects you're experiencing? Oh, you're doing good? All right, see you in 6 months. We have to differentiate sometimes. A psychiatrist that is there for meds, and a therapist is there for talk therapy and support. Now, sometimes you will get a provider who's a psychiatrist, nurse practitioner, who can prescribe you medicine and do therapy. But sometimes they're not the same person. They provide two separate services. And I wonder if she was expecting the therapy service when he was just a provider of medication. We have to talk about that also. Differentiate the different ways that we provide services. It's not all in one bundle. And how some of the relationships you have had in the past with providers do impact how you now see this new provider. Oh, my last provider, we just talked the whole time. We kiki. I showed her pictures of my boyfriend. Where the new provider is like, I have boundaries. I don't do those things. But you come into my world, my sessions, with those bad behaviors, some unrealistic expectations, and now that's projected onto me. And we hear well, my therapist used to do this, my therapist used to do that. Well, I'm Denise. Nice to meet you. Okay. I'm not Michelle. I'm not Frank. I'm Denise. Okay. I'm Denise. Right. But I think all in all, Kendra's a little bit Looney Tunes. Okay. And I think there's a level of limerence here of becoming obsessed with your provider, having a relationship with someone who is not really, I think, giving a relationship back. Okay. Could it have been love addiction? Could it have been that since she came in with some father wounds, she saw her father in this person, or the man that she always wanted in her life? Maybe it was her psychiatrist. But I think she was mentally madly in love with somebody who didn't have the same relationship with her. Okay. But chat, let me know your thoughts. If you got this far in the video, put some stars in the chat. Let me know you got here. Make sure you hit that like, you subscribe. Chat. The mental health field in psychology, along with social media, is really changing things. And I don't know if it's for the best. All right. But let me know, because we can get into it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.